Imagine a town so isolated that when people died, no one came to move their bodies. A place where children vanished, workers were buried where they fell, and voices are still heard calling out from empty streets. This is Noria, an abandoned mining town in northern Chile, often described as one of the most genuinely haunted places in South America. Noria was founded in the late 1800s during Chile's nitrate mining boom. Thousands of workers were brought into the Atacama Desert, one of the driest, most unforgiving environments on Earth. They lived in brutal conditions, working long hours under extreme heat, surrounded by dust, isolation, and despair. Death was common. Accidents, disease, dehydration, and malnutrition claimed lives regularly. When miners died, they were often buried quickly, sometimes without coffins, sometimes without names. Families were separated. Children grew up surrounded by death, poverty, and abandonment. As nitrate production declined in the early 20th century, Noria was suddenly deserted. Entire families left overnight. Others never made it out. The town collapsed into silence, but according to those who visit, it never emptied. Locals claim that children's voices are heard laughing and crying near the cemetery. Some say they see small figures running between ruined buildings, only to vanish when approached. These are believed to be the spirits of children who died from disease, hunger, or neglect and were buried in unmarked graves. One of the most disturbing aspects of Noria is its cemetery. Graves are shallow. Some are broken open by time. In certain areas, bones were visible above ground for decades. Visitors describe overwhelming sadness, sudden nausea, and the sensation of being surrounded, even when completely alone. This is where the stories become darker. Paranormal investigators and locals report hearing whispers in Spanish, footsteps crunching on sand behind them, and the sensation of being touched. Some claim shadow figures stand at the edge of the town at sunset, watching silently. Others report seeing lights moving between ruins at night, lights with no source. This is the haunting version. Some believe Noria is not just haunted, but imprinted. The theory is that extreme suffering, isolation, and mass death created a psychological and emotional residue that never dissipated. Unlike cities that evolved, Noria was frozen in trauma and abandoned without closure. But skeptics argue there is another explanation. They point out that the Atacama Desert creates extreme sensory distortion. Heat, dehydration, and silence can induce auditory hallucinations. Wind moving through broken structures can mimic voices. The human brain, when placed in desolate environments tied to tragedy, fills in the gaps. Anthropologists also note that stories of child spirits are common in abandoned settlements where family life ended abruptly. Over time, folklore replaces memory, transforming grief into ghosts. Yet even skeptics struggle with Noria. Chilean authorities discourage visits after dark. Locals refuse to stay overnight. And independent researchers report equipment failure, audio anomalies, and intense emotional reactions that persist long after leaving the site. So we are left with two possibilities. Either Noria is genuinely inhabited by the spirits of those who were left behind, children, workers, and families who never escaped the desert. Or it is one of the most powerful examples of how abandonment and suffering can permanently scar a place. Is Noria haunted by ghosts or haunted by the consequences of human neglect? Which truth do you believe?